Today we're making kale chips. So let's get started.
So this recipe seemed kind of like a no-brainer since we see kale chips now everywhere. And we've had kale chips at our house from the store. And they just okay. But we thought we would just come home and buy a whole bunch and make our own. So for what you get at the store, for one small package, it's typically around $3 to $4. But you can buy this whole bunch of kale for only about $2 and have some really delicious chips. So here we go.
We're making
So making kale chips is pretty simple. We need kale. We need some olive oil or grapeseed oil. We're using grapeseed oil today, and some salt and some pepper. You can also add Parmesan for an extra fun twist, or any other seasonings that you think you'll like or your kids will like. So the first thing we need to do is we need to take the rough stems off, and then really just we need to chop up the leaves into bite-sized pieces. So here we go. So just to quickly show you, it's really easy to rip the stem off. You kind of just hold the kale leaf like this.
I only get one.
You hold the stem like this, and you kind of just tear it off, or you just rip it off. The kind of fun thing about this recipe is that it doesn't really require a knife, which is kind of fun to do with your kids. So
have to rip it off.
You can just rip it off. Yep.
Broccoli. You have to just. Should they show you how to do it?
Sure.
Okay. You just rip it off like. Use strong muscles to rip it off because it's very strong.
So the next thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to wash all of the kale that we just kind of took off from the ribs. Yeah. So what I have here is I put all of the kale leaves in a salad spinner like this, and we're just going to give it a little wash here.
Extra yummy!
So now that we've given the kale a nice little wash, we have to dry it, because once we put olive oil on it, or I'm sorry, with grapeseed oil in this case, it's not going to really stick. So Luke is going to dry it with the salad spinner.
Dry.
Let's see those muscles. Pump it up.
And then stop it.
And then stop it. Perfect. Can you open it up for me? Perfect. So now,
go dry.
The only other thing that we are going to do, and you can theoretically just bake the kale just like this in big long chips, but since this is going to end up in a school lunch, I'm going to kind of rip them into smaller pieces.
And so include nuts.
And we're not going to include nuts because our school doesn't allow nuts, right? So what we're going to do, and this is a really fun activity for your kid to do, especially somebody like Luke who likes to rip things apart, is we're just going to let them kind of tear at it and make these into little bite-sized pieces.
Take the whole thing, and rip.
Well, what you want to do is you kind of want to rip it like this, like one at a time.
Like take it and then rip it.
Right. And then put it back in the salad spinner basket.
Really?
So now what I have here is a parchment lined baking sheet, and what we'll do is we'll just put the kale on the baking sheet and make sure that the kale doesn't overlap. You don't want to have like a whole bunch of kale overlapping with each other. So we'll just kind of put it in one nice layer, and we'll probably have to do either batches or save some for tomorrow, and just line it up like that. And then what we'll do is we'll take some grapeseed oil and then we'll sprinkle it or drizzle it on top.
All of it?
Nope. And then what we'll do is we'll take our hands and we'll kind of lightly toss it in the oil. We'll take a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper, and we'll just season it, and we'll sprinkle this on top like this.
You didn't eat it.
Well, we gotta bake it. And some pepper.
I love it.
And we'll put this in our 325-degree oven for about 20 to 25 minutes.
Delicious! Look at my face.